Thanks for staying with us, everyone. You're watching What Now? Let's turn attention to the Democratic Republic of Congo, where suspected members of the Allied Democratic Forces have attacked a village in eastern DRC, killing 10 civilians. This was made known by Nicolas Kambale, the mayor of Mangina. He said the assailants wielding knives and firearms launched simultaneous attacks in separate villages, taking advantage of the dark as they burned several houses and damaged property. He urged the military to find their hideouts to help restore security. The latest attack raised the death toll from the attacks in the area to 14 in just 48 hours. Hundreds of people have fled their homes. Charles Nyakombo is the director of Suvera Africa. He joins us from Nairobi, Kenya for Monday. It's good to have you join us, Charles. Let's get to your reaction, Charles, to the latest conflict in the DRC, this time by the ADF and not even the M23 rebels. Charles, can you hear me?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Charles. I'm not sure if you got my question earlier. I was asking you to speak to the latest.
Good afternoon, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
All right, Charles, I was asking you to speak to the latest attacks in the DRC, not by the M23 rebels this time, but by ADF.
Yes, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can. Please go ahead.
Yes. Yeah, the primary role of any government is to protect the citizens. So the attack by the ADF recently just exposes it just shows the inability of the government to clearly 100% protect their people. And of course, we are aware since 2021, Ugandan forces, together with the Congolese forces, have been, trying to keep at bay the forces. But again, now they have fully adapted into other new tactics that the military is finding so difficult to really counter them. So one of the tactics they're using is to go work through the locals. Remember, the eastern part of the DRC is quite covered by forest. So they have disintegrated into smaller groups that are so difficult for the military to get hold of them. And those are the groups that they're using to really attack and do small attacks. So they are not really now focusing on fighting the military, but they are focusing on fighting the civilians themselves. So it's quite of difficult to even assure the citizens in the eastern part of DRC of their safety, because they metamorphosizes into different ways to continue do the attacks like the ones that they have just done this week.
And that's the thing, Charles, because you mentioned the Ugandan and DRC forces, the multiplicity of actors in this conflict. Just speak to how that complicates efforts to bring peace to DRC.
Yeah, you see now with the ADF, they're using the knowledge of the understanding of their local terrains. If you look at the North Kivu and just the eastern part of the DRC, the terrain is quite bad, and of course the ADF members they understand their terrains. So troops from Uganda and maybe now from the Kinshasa and maybe the parts of the DRC, they are finding it difficult to understand the local arrangements, and to some extent it is reported that they even recruit some of their locals really to push forward these attacks. So with the presence of external forces, or with the presence, I can say, of the foreign forces like those come from Uganda, for them, they have the knowledge of just fighting, attacking directly. But now these are people that they hide in the forests. They know where the forests are. They know where the rivers are. They know where the caves are. And those are the areas that they hide. Then they get to the civilians. And they do this mostly at night. And this is making it more complex even for any kind of strong military in Africa really to fight this.
And the complexity of issues as well is another thing, Charles, because there is the issue of now this conflict with the ADF, the M23 rebels, attempt at peace efforts. There is the new constitutional review that now allows the president to run for a third term. There is the Ebola outbreak in that country. I mean, all of this, just speak to it, where in terms of the political volatility of DRC.
Yeah, DRC is one of the. I think also the size of the country alone is another complexity, and I'm emphasizing on that because we have the weak governance systems. You know, in some parts of the DRC, and just like some parts of other African countries, they have never even seen a tarmac road. So there are some vacuums that have been created. So these vacuums are what are being filled by these rebel groups. And it's not just ADF. Maybe the next time you'll also hear, sadly, that another group has also attacked the locals. Now, the complexities that you've mentioned, the government is now concentrating on, the constitution, concentrating maybe on the minerals and all that. Then the internal security part of it is left void. And this is now where the biggest problem is. So, if you look at the context of now the Eastern DRC, the local authority levels is weak. The first question that you ask yourself, do they even have roads? Do they even have schools? Do they have hospitals? Do they even have electricity to begin with? So these basic amenities are supposed to be provided, one, by the government. That is the first priority. So if these ones are not there, do we even have courts at the local level? Do we even have the police at the local level that understand the local authorities? How strong are they? So we understand the current state of the DRC, of course, fighting complex disease like Ebola, and of course also with the poverty level. But the security aspect of it cannot be compromised, because at the end of the day, as we continue to lose people, then of course the rebel groups get stronger, and this will increase the number of refugees. So even the neighboring countries like like Rwanda, like Uganda, even Kenya, to some extent, of course we have Tanzania there, will be affected. So this should be a concern for everyone. So in my view, I would view it from perspective of the government is concentrating on so many other things. Ebola is there, constitution is there,
and Charles, just because of time,
they have left a very important part.
Yes, absolutely, and just because of time, because Burundi is also part, of that neighboring country. But I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned Rwanda, and there was that peace agreement between DRC and Rwanda. But it seemed not to have taken, any effect. And then you also have the one that was brokered by Qatar between the government in DRC and the M23 rebels. Also seem to be very fragile. I'm wondering whether then, the path then to a diplomatic off-ramp between the government and some of these groups.
I don't think any of the peace deals really, made any sense to the war that is going on in the DRC. The different peace agreements, even if we have a number of them, again, charters and all that, it won't really work. I think what will really work is understanding the basic concepts, the basic problems. In some occasions and in most instances, when war has been degenerated now to the local level, now we have to use the knowledge of the local context to resolve it. Even if there's an agreement between Burundi and the Congolese government, or the Congolese government and Rwanda, or any other country, whether it is signed in Qatar, signed in Kenya, or any other place, it still will not solve the problem, because that is a complete departure from the exact local areas that we have. Then also, just to add this, just quickly, we have different rebel groups, and they're using different tactics. So they also have different interests. So as we try to look at the rebels, from the different areas, from the gold mines and all that, we also have different rebels that are also doing different things. So I think the local knowledge and the local context will really help more than the military intervention that we are seeing today.
Well,
yes.
hopefully the government find a solution to all of this, just because of citizens who are now being displaced. Thank you so much for your time as always. Director of Severa Africa, Charles Yakombo. Always a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
All right, just before we go, let's tell you that the United States House of Representatives has approved an amendment that could suspend all U.S. assistance to Nigeria until the federal government takes stronger action against terrorism and violence. The measure, sponsored by Florida Congressman Gregory Strebe, raises an earlier proposal to withhold 50% of U.S. aid, increasing it to 100%. Under the amendment, funding would only resume after the U.S. Secretary of State certifies that Nigeria has taken effective steps to prevent violence, protect vulnerable communities, and hold perpetrators accountable. Strebe argued that Nigeria has failed to adequately address insecurity and religious persecution, particularly attacks on Christians, saying U.S. taxpayer funds should not support governments that fail to protect their citizens. The amendment is part of a broader appropriations bill and must still clear the remaining stages of the U.S. legislative process before becoming law. And that's what now. Thank you so much for watching. I am Precious Amayo.